Welcome to the Zohar class. This week portion is Metzora, and we also right before Passover. Usually these two portions, they come together. Metzora in the meaning of a disease called leprosy. And if you break down the word, Metzora means motzira, somebody that have an evil speech, somebody that judge with his speaking, someone that judging others, evil speech, bad speech. And at the same time, we are right before Passover, so we're going to learn what's the connection here. So let's start with Passover. In a few days, we have the holiday called Passover. And something new I can share with everyone is we call it the holiday that we come out of slavery into freedom, right? The story is that we were slaves in Egypt and we come to freedom. They call it Chag Cherut, the freedom holiday. So what is this slavery? How come we are not out of it yet? And how come every year we say we want freedom, we don't want slavery? So the Kabbalists explain to us that we born into slavery. We are born into be a slave. That's the purpose of humanity. That's why we were born into this physical world. So we are born to be a slave. But like everything else in this world, there is a positive aspect and there is a negative aspect about slavery. So we're born to be a slave, and we want to learn what is a good slave and what is a bad slave. I mean, there is no any other way around it. To make it clear, Baruch Hashem, we all parents, and it's a good example. When we have a child, the child until certain age, they're our slave, right? We can take him anywhere we want. We take him to any countries. We put him at any school. We give him any food we want. We give him any kind of a clothing we want, right? And they follow us. So in a way, a child is our slave. But as a good parents, we want a good thing for them. We limit them, we decide for them, but obviously for the goodness, for the good things. So we were born into slavery. And a good slave is a slave that practice kindness and love. He's slave to act as a kind person. He's slave as acting as a lovable person. So the boundaries, the limitations that we can choose to have as a slave is slavery of love and kindness. But unfortunately, most of the humanity, we fall for the other slavery. That's slavery into materialism, slavery into hate and anger and jealousy and reactive and victim consciousness. So, in other words, we all slaves. One way or another, we all slaves. Slaves to addictions, slaves to negative habits. That means, what does it mean, slave? Slave is that I don't have a choice. I woke up in the morning, I'm angry already. I woke up in the morning, I'm in a competition. I woke up in the morning, I'm not happy with my life. I woke up in the morning, I go after my addictions. So the slavery dictates, what we're gonna do, how we're gonna live our life. You know what's the day that during the week that we are not a slave is on Shabbat. That we choose, to disconnect ourselves from all this physical world. I choose to go to my temple. I choose to listen to the Torah. We are not slave anymore. We are not in this competition or anger or hate. We dress up nice. We choose to dress up nice. We choose to look good. So when we say the holiday of freedom from slavery is we have to look into ourselves. What are my addictions? What I'm slave to? Uh, from Middle East, people from Middle East, we all have it. We are slipped into victim consciousness. We always feel like we're a victim. We always feel like we don't have enough. We are not good enough. We always have a victim that they took something from me and the life was unfair to me. This is all slavery. Uh, so again, we born into slavery. We born, all of us, we carry in our DNA. One way or another, we're gonna, even the Kabbalah says, we're not supposed to be slave into like studying Torah 24 hours or slave into religiosity. So we're born into slavery, and you're supposed to teach it, change it from, switch it from negative slavery into positive slavery. That I want to live a good life. I'm not under influences of the society. I'm not under influences of what I see or what I feel like I need. I'm not falling into slavery of my fake desires. A good slavery is to be truthful to who I am, what I'm capable of, what I have. A good slave is to acknowledge and appreciate the design that the creator did for me. And at the beginning of the class, it says, I want to be the good slave that I appreciate, I enjoy, I have love and kindness in every aspect of our life. If you pay attention, it's very easy to become hateful. It's very easy to say lashon hara. It's very easy to become anger. But in order to have love and kindness, we have to work on ourselves. It's a little bit more difficult because slavery is like you don't have a choice. It's given to you. It's very easy to become angry. But if I want to have a freedom, if I want to have to be free from all those addictions and bad habits, I have to work on myself. I have to come out of the slavery and practice love and kindness. So when we celebrate Passover, this is 7 days that we have to look into ourselves. No doubt, all of us were slave into something. Slave to perfectionism, slave to so many different kind of addictions. Slave to lashon hara, evil speech. So slave to work, so workaholic, that's slavery. Slave into eating and food, slave into so many desires that we experience in this city. So we call it the holiday of freedom. We want to get free from all these limitations, all these borders, and we want to inject that love and kindness and joy and happiness. A happy person is free. A joyful person is free. A person with love is free. A person with kindness is free. Why do you think during the holidays we sing and we dance and we are happy? Because we want to push forward that freedom. In Hebrew, a slave is Eved. If you break it down, it's Ain Bet and Dalet. Ain Bet is the 72 letters of Hashem, the 72 names, which stands for Chesed, for kindness. So a good slave is a slave that kindness and love is every aspect of his life. The connection to the portion of Metzora, which is leprosy and evil speeches, that who speaks an evil speech? Someone that is a slave. Like he feels like He's better than somebody else. He feels lack. He's the person that speaks evil speech has something evil within him. Anything with evil is a negative slavery. So, one of the sentences we read in Passover is about the four sons. One of them is Rasha. Rasha is an evil person. He says, Rasha Mahu Omer. He says, Rasha, an evil person, is a person that comes out of his mouth. So, as long as something negative and bad come out of our mouth, we are the negative slave. There is a story about this rabbi that he always find a way to speak good, not evil. He see a guy, this rabbi, he see a guy walks on Tisha B'Av, night and Av, a day that we are supposed to fast. He walks in the street and he eats food. So he's telling himself, maybe he doesn't know. He made a mistake. He doesn't know today is night of Tisha B'Av. So he approached him. He says, "Do you know it's night of today? Maybe you don't know it's night of today." He says, "No, I know it's night of today." So he says, maybe he doesn't know that you're not supposed to eat on night of Tisha B'Av. So ask him, maybe you don't know that you're not supposed to eat in Tisha B'Av. He says, no, I know you're not supposed to eat in night. So he says, oh my God, how can I think positive about this person? So, oh, okay, I got it. Maybe you went to a doctor and the doctor told you you're not supposed to fast and you're supposed to eat. He says, no, I feel very healthy. But my doctor says I'm very good. Then the rabbi he says to the sky, he says, Hashem, I appreciate this good Jew that he never lies in his life. So doesn't matter how negative people are, how they act in a bad way, we have to find a way. We have to find a way to talk good about it. As we have to remember, as long as we speak Lashon Hara, we are slave to something. You're slave to hate, we're slave to anger, we're slave to jealousy, we're slave into something, and that's the reason we speak Lashon Hara. So now we know the formula, and God willing, we're going to stop speaking Lashon Hara and get out of this slavery to this evil speech. And we learned in the past classes, the only beneficiary of evil speech is us, is ourselves. By talking bad about other people, we only hurt ourselves. There are some business deals goes bad. There's some relationships that needs fixing. But again and again, we have to stand on our right. We have to fix problems. But as a free person, with love and kindness and understanding. Remember the example from the rabbi. We have to always find the excuse to talk good about a person. One of the reasons that we eat matzah in Passover, why eat matzah for 7 days or 8 days in our case? So we know the reason that a bread change its look. It's become double, triple of its size. It grows, and then matzah doesn't grow. If you have 1 pound of ord, I used to ord in English, I forgot. Oh, flour. If you have 1 pound of flour, you're gonna have exactly 1 pound of the same size of amount of matzah. But if you make a bread, it's gonna be much bigger. So the Kabbalists explain to us that it's have to do with ego and a sheker and a lie. So the source of all slavery is ego. We're angry because we have ego. We get jealous because we have ego. We're in competition because we have ego. So one way to teach us, or one way to learn how we are supposed to behave in these 8 days, is not to have ego. The other aspect is lie. Don't live a life of a lie. Live a truthful life. When we eat a matzah, is the true size and measurement of the flour. But when we eat bread, that's not the truth size. It's like an illusionary. You know, the bread looks much nicer, much bigger, much more beautiful, smell much better, right? So the Kabbalah is telling us it's an indication to live a truthful life. Don't live a fake life. If you live a fake life, if you live a life of a lie, you're obviously your slaves. But if you're truthful, if you're truthful for who we are, what we are capable of, who we are, then we are in the right track. We are not a slave. I don't want to judge, but you know, just for the purpose of learning, um, uh, in this society, in this Hollywood, everybody try to look better and look younger, and unfortunately, in my eye, they look even worse. If you grow older in a nice way, you're gonna stay beautiful, you know, until 120. But if you slave into perfectionist and if you're slave into I want to look better and better, it's a disease, it's a sickness, you know. So they're slave into I want to look good, I want to look better. The Kabbalists give us another example of not judging and not speaking Lashon Hara. He says, let's say we are sitting in a hall and a person walks in, he grabs a chocolate from the table and eat the whole thing. A slave to the negativity would say, oh, look at this guy, you know, he's stealing the chocolate, you know, he's he's such an unpolite person, just walked in and grabbed a chocolate. A good slave, a person with love and kindness, would say, that's probably his own chocolate, and la briut, I wish him, you know, to enjoy it. So if we catch ourselves that we judge people in a negative way, that means we are slave. We are still slave in Egypt. But if we catch ourselves that we judge a person in a good way, that means, you know, we are free. There is another example that they say two judges. There were two judges. One of them was very harsh. He gives always harsh judgments. He gives like bad punishment to criminals. And there was another judge that he was kind, he was loving, and he did his best to not to give a bad punishment to the criminals. He says something happened, and both judges, they did something wrong, some kind of a money issue, and they had to judge them. How you judge a judge? So the wise people, they said, you know, let's open their books. The same way that they judge others, we're going to judge them. So they opened the book of the evil judge. He said, wow, so many harsh judgments he gives. Many years of prison, a lot of money punishment. They said, so we have to judge in the same way. They opened the books for the good judge. Oh, he was so kind. He was so understanding. He gives a second chance. He didn't look down at people. So we're going to judge him the same way. The lesson is that Hashem, the Creator, is going to judge us the same way we judge others. Chas v'shalom, if we think others are thieves, liars, cheaters, that's the same way the Creator is going to look at us. But if you give a reason of doubt, I know he did something wrong, but you know, maybe there is a reason behind it. So Hashem is going to judge us in a kind way as well. So the point of the class is not to be slave, because when you're slaves, we act and we judge, we say the wrong things, we act in the wrong way, we think in a wrong way, and by being a slave and acting in a negative way, then the consequences are going to be negative. Then the universe, Hashem, other people is going to judge us in a negative. There was a rabbi, he never, ever judged anybody in a negative way. Never think negative, never talk negative, never act negative. The biggest criminal in the world, he find a way to reason, in between himself that maybe there is something I don't understand. So that rabbi was so pure, so tahor, such a good soul, such a good human being, that everything came out of his mouth was happening, was becoming true. I don't have his name here, but all the sick people used to go to him. All the people with trouble used to go to him, because whatever he says become true, because he was such a pure person. So God willing, all of us, we're going to get to the point that we don't see bad, we don't see the negative, we find the good in everybody. And then we're going to have the same powers as well by wishing good for others and wanting good things for others. Mr. Kami asked a question about Metzora. Metzora was a disease in a biblical time called leprosy. And why such a disease existed? So Hashem created this formula. Somebody spoke bad, spoke negative, spoke evil speech. Right away, he had this disease on his skin, the redness, the whiteness on his skin. And he went to the Kohen and because we had a Bet HaMikdash and we had a Kohen Gadol, and he used to cure them. So there was a system to stop people from evil speech. And if they did evil speech, they could have been fixed. They spoke bad, they had a red disease, they go to a Kohen Gadol fix them. It was a 7-day process. Now, since we don't have the Bet HaMikdash, and since we don't have a Kohen Gadol, the Creator, with all his life and kindness to us, he removed his formula. Even if speak evil speech, we don't have a redness, because there won't be a way to cure it. God forbid, if it would have happened, all of us would be red head to toe by now. So he removed that formula because there is no Kohen Gadol, there is no Bet HaMikdash. But still, there is an effect by speaking evil speech. It doesn't come on our skin, and it's very scary and it's very harsh, but we have to know how bad it is. God forbid, the evil speech show itself in diseases. Evil speech show itself in bad finances, bad business. Evil speech creates bad relationships, negative circumstances. The Zohar says the house can get leprosy, the clothing can get leprosy, the food can get leprosy because of the evil speech people talk. So there is a consequence, but it shows itself in finance, health, relationships. So the holiday of Pesach is freedom from slavery. And as long as we speak evil speech, we are slaves. Think about it. What would a slave would say? If you go back 500 years, what would the slave say? The slaves, they only talk negative. What kind of a life is this? It's horrible. I don't have no freedom. They're hitting me. They're punishing me. Complain after complaint after complaint. So a complaining person is a slave. I think with that, we cover the portion of Metzora and the Passover. The word Pesach, Pe means mouth, Sach means good. That's another indication. Pesach means talk good. Pe means mouth, Sach means good. So, in a big picture, if you want to talk about it in one concept, is coming out of slavery, coming out of bondage into freedom have to do with our way of speaking. If we want to get a little bit technical about it, you know, on a Passover night, all of us knows the song Kadesh, Chas, Matam. So there is 15 things we point out. Kadesh, Chas, you know, and we keep singing it a few times over and over. There's 15 of those. 15 is the numerical value is of Yud Hey. We all know the name of Hashem, like Yud Hey, Yud K Vav K, right? Yud Hey is 15. Vav Hey is the second part of it. Yud Hey is the light. Vav Hey is the vessel. So there is 15 things we eat and we celebrate and we do on Passover. So if we have the right vessel, if we have the Vav Hey, if we create the right vessel, if we forgive everybody, if we kind and we bring love into our life, we eliminate the evil speech, evil thought, evil actions. If we prepare this vessel on Passover night, we're going to get the light. Right? You understand? If the vessel is ready, the things we eat and the things we do, the whole process of Passover is to receive the light. That plate we make is a satellite to receive the light. So if you prepare the vessel by that night, that I want to live a truthful life, I don't want to live a life of lie, I don't want to think bad, I don't want to say bad things about anybody. And if the vessel is ready, we're going to receive the light. And then it's going to be a perfect human being, Yud K Vav K. They call it Seder Pesach, right? Seder means organized. Seder means, you know, be organized. So by organizing ourselves, by preparing the vessel and have the light on that night, we're going to have a wonderful year full of blessing and barakah. So we have few days to look into ourselves. Forgive, you know, whoever we haven't forgiven, forgive you. You know, take out all these crazy ideas from our head about other people. One Kabbalist, he described evil speech in a very good way. He said, if you have a conversation, if you have a speak that doesn't have a good result, that doesn't have a to'elet in Hebrew. To'elet in Hebrew means like a byproduct. If whatever you say won't have any good byproduct, that's Lashon Hara, that's evil speech. You know, we always talk to each other, help each other, direct each other, empower each other, you know, transform each other, say good things to each other. If I tell you good things, you're gonna feel good about it. So that has a good purpose. But Lashon Hara, evil speech, is anything we say with no good result. If the result of what I'm saying is not good, that's evil speech. You know, so the result have to be good. The result have to be positive. And Bezrat Hashem, with this lesson, we are preparing our vessel, and we're gonna receive the light on the Passover, and we're gonna have a wonderful, wonderful year full of health, happiness, and success to all of us. I wish everyone Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach, and see you on Shabbat. Thank you very much. Toda Rabba.